Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. It all started innocently enough. Emily's best friend, Natalie, was getting married, and they planned a bachelorette party in Miami. "It's just 2 days," Emily told me with that disarming smile of hers as she packed her suitcase. "We'll sip cocktails, hit the beach, and celebrate Natalie's last days as a single woman. Nothing crazy." I laughed and kissed her goodbye, thinking nothing of it. After all, we trusted each other. Or so I thought. When Emily returned, something felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. She was quieter than usual, distracted even, like her mind was miles away. As we sat on the couch that evening, her phone buzzed. She quickly grabbed it, laughed nervously, and turned it face down on the table. "Who's that?" I asked casually. "Oh, just Natalie," she said too quickly. "She's still giddy from the trip." I didn't push. Maybe I should have. Instead, I brushed it off and told myself I was imagining things. A week passed, then another. Emily was still acting strange, jumpier, more distant. She started going to bed later than usual, scrolling on her phone until the early hours of the morning. She had also been avoiding any kind of intimacy, brushing off my attempts with excuses about being tired or stressed. It wasn't like her, and the change was impossible to ignore. One night I decided to confront her. "Emily," I said, standing in the doorway of our bedroom, arms crossed. "What's going on? You've been weird ever since Miami." She looked up from her phone, startled. "What? Nothing's going on. Why would you think that?" "I don't know," I admitted, sitting on the edge of the bed. "You're not yourself. Did something happen on the trip?" Her face turned pale for a split second before she forced a smile. "Of course not. You're being paranoid, Ryan." I wanted to believe her. I really did. So I dropped it. For a while. The tipping point came just 2 days later. Emily had gone out for a walk, and I was getting ready to head out, only to realize I couldn't find my car keys. I checked the usual spots, on the kitchen counter, by the door, in the drawer, but they weren't there. Then it hit me. Emily had borrowed my car earlier that morning because hers was broken down. I went to her purse, which was hanging by the coat rack, and when I opened it, there they were. But along with the keys, something else caught my eye. A receipt from Miami Ink Tattoo Studio. The date matched her bachelorette trip. Emily didn't have any tattoos. When she came home, I held the receipt up. "Care to explain this?" Her eyes widened and she stammered, "Oh, Natalie dared me to get a tiny one. It's nothing, really." "Where?" I asked, skeptical. "What? Where's the tattoo, Emily?" She hesitated, then pulled down the waistband of her jeans slightly to reveal a tiny heart inked near her hip. "See? No big deal." But as I looked closer, something seemed off. Inside the heart, there was a letter, an R carefully etched in the center. My stomach dropped. "Emily, what's this?" I asked, my voice tightening. Her face paled. She shifted uncomfortably, then gave a nervous smile. I had the artist put the R inside the heart. "For you." I froze, the words barely registering. "You... what?" I muttered. She bit her lip, avoiding my gaze. "I thought it would be a cute thing, Ryan. A little gesture. It's nothing to make a big deal out of." My chest tightened. A gesture? A tattoo with a hidden letter? I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling, and I knew this wasn't just about the tattoo anymore. I nodded slowly, though everything in me screamed that I needed to dig deeper. The following day, I called Natalie. "Hey, Natalie, quick question," I began, keeping my tone light. "What's this I hear about Emily getting a tattoo in Miami?" There was a pause. Yeah," Natalie said awkwardly. "It was a crazy night. She was pretty drunk. You know how it is." I didn't know how it was. Emily wasn't a heavy drinker, and she definitely wasn't the spontaneous tattoo type. My gut was screaming at me now. That night I did something I never thought I'd do. I snooped. While Emily was in the shower, I was sitting on the couch, trying to shake the unease I felt. That's when a message notification popped up on her phone. The name on the screen read, "Megan." The message itself made my blood run cold. "I want to see you again." I stared at it for a moment, feeling a knot tighten in my stomach. It felt off. Something wasn't right. I quickly unlocked her phone. She had changed the passcode since Miami, but I knew her well enough to guess it. It only took 2 tries. I opened the conversation with Megan, and I found that it only contained this one message: I want to see you again. There was no other context, no explanation. The conversation seemed incomplete. My suspicion grew, and I copied the number from the message into my own phone, making sure to save it. I didn't know why, but something about it felt like a breadcrumb I couldn't ignore. When Emily came out of the shower, I was still holding her phone, trying to compose myself. "Who's Megan?" I asked, my voice sounding more steady than I felt. Her eyes widened for just a split second before she quickly masked it with a smile. "Oh, Megan. She's a friend from work." I didn't buy it. Not for a second. "Really? A friend from work?" I asked, my tone skeptical. "Just a friend?" She shifted uncomfortably, then laughed nervously. "Yeah, Ryan. Just a friend. You're being paranoid." But that smile, that look in her eyes, it didn't convince me. "I don't know, Emily," I said, the doubt creeping in. "It doesn't seem like just a friend." Emily's face reddened slightly, but she quickly brushed it off. "You're overthinking it. There's nothing to worry about." I wasn't convinced, not in the slightest. The next day I couldn't shake the feeling. The message, the name Megan, the weird conversation. It kept running through my head. I couldn't just leave it alone. I called the number I had copied from her phone, and when it rang, my heart hammered in my chest. After a couple of rings, a man picked up. "Hello?" I swallowed, my voice barely steady. "Hi, I'm looking for Megan." The man paused for a moment. "Megan? There's no Megan here, man. You must have the wrong number." I froze. "Yeah, probably," I muttered, feeling the blood drain from my face. "Sorry to bother you." I hung up, the weight of what had just happened sinking in. My gut was screaming that I needed answers. I couldn't leave it alone. I had to know. That night, Emily had fallen asleep on the couch, exhausted from the long day. Her phone was sitting on the coffee table just a few feet away from me. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop myself. I grabbed it, silently praying that I could find something that would explain all of this. I unlocked it quickly, my hands trembling. I scrolled through her messages, hoping I was wrong, hoping there was an innocent explanation. But when I got to the conversation with Megan, my stomach dropped. The messages were hidden, like she had deliberately archived them so I wouldn't find them. I tapped to open the conversation, and the first thing that hit me was the date. It was from the weekend she was in Miami. The first message from Megan was clear. "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you, can't wait to see you again." I stared at it, my heart racing. I scrolled further, and what I saw next made my hand shake. The contact name Megan wasn't a real person at all. She had used a woman's name to hide the fact that she was talking to someone else, a man named Richard. I paused, blinking, trying to process what I was seeing. I took a deep breath and continued reading. "That was the best night of my life. You were incredible," Emily wrote. My throat tightened as I read more. The messages grew more personal, more intimate. She had sent him a message saying how she couldn't stop thinking about him, how he made her feel. I was paralyzed. These weren't just flirtations. These were real, raw emotions. Then, I saw something that made my blood run cold. She had sent Richard intimate photos, videos of them together. They were naked, in the act. I stared at the screen, unable to look away. Each image, each video was a cold reminder of the betrayal. I felt sick to my stomach, my heart racing faster as I kept scrolling. But it didn't stop there. I saw the picture she had sent him of the tattoo, the tiny heart on her hip with the R inside it, the one she had claimed was just for me. She had lied. The tattoo she said was for me was meant for Richard. It wasn't a sweet gesture like she'd claimed. It was a symbol of her connection to him. I sat there, my mind reeling, staring at the screen. I couldn't process what was happening, what I was seeing. All I could think was that I had been living a lie. My wife, the woman I loved and trusted, had betrayed me in ways I couldn't have imagined. I felt like my whole world had collapsed in an instant. The realization hit me hard, but my instincts kicked in quickly. I couldn't let this moment pass without taking action. With trembling hands, I forwarded the messages, the photos, and the videos to my phone. I needed proof, something concrete. I watched the files transfer to my phone, each one a reminder of her betrayal. Then, without a second thought, I deleted our conversation from her phone. I didn't want her to have any idea that I had uncovered everything. The next morning I made an appointment with a lawyer. I didn't waste any time. I wanted to file for divorce and protect myself, ensuring that Emily wouldn't get a single thing from it. The lawyer's office was sterile and cold, but it gave me the clarity I needed. I had worked hard for everything I owned, my bank accounts, properties, everything, and I wasn't going to let her take it all after what she'd done. The lawyer explained the process, and we went over how I could protect my assets to ensure that Emily would get nothing. I walked out of that office with a new sense of determination. This wasn't going to be easy, but I had taken the first step to safeguard my future. Now I had to confront Emily. The next step was the hardest part: waiting. I knew Emily was out running errands and she'd be back soon. It was the longest wait of my life. I went home, my mind racing. The image of them together in bed kept replaying in my mind, along with the messages from Richard. My hands trembled slightly as I sat down at the kitchen table, gathering everything into a single text. I typed carefully, making sure every word hit hard. I was going to send it to everyone we knew, family, friends, anyone who needed to know the truth. I couldn't keep this secret. She didn't deserve that. I wrote, "This is what she did in Miami. She lied to me. She betrayed me. I trusted her, and this is how she repaid me. Here's the proof. Everything you need to know about Emily's affair with Richard is right here." I attached the photos, the messages, the videos, everything that told the truth. My thumb hovered over the send button, wondering what would happen next. The moment she walked in, I would confront her, and the truth would be out. I waited, time dragging on. Then, the sound of the front door opening broke the silence. My heart skipped a beat. Emily had come home. I took a deep breath, steadied my nerves, and sent the message with the evidence to our closest people. And then, I turned to face her. I stood there, phone in hand, as I watched Emily walk in. The moment she saw me holding the phone, her face dropped. "What's going on, Ryan?" she asked, her voice shaky. Without a word, I handed her the phone, letting her see everything: the photos, the videos, the texts. The betrayal was laid out in front of her, undeniable. "Emily, what is this?" I demanded, my voice rising with a mix of anger and disbelief. Her eyes flickered between the screen and the floor, unable to meet my gaze. I can explain," she stammered. "Please, Ryan." "Explain?" I spat, disbelief taking over. "You've been lying to me this whole time. This is what you did behind my back. Who is Richard?" Her face went pale, her lips trembling. She opened her mouth to speak, but the words stuck in her throat. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I was drunk, and it was just one mistake. It was only one night, and then we slept together again in the morning. Nothing more." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "A mistake?" I yelled, my anger rising. "You slept with him twice, Emily. Twice! And you did a tattoo for him, the same tattoo you said was for me." Her shoulders shook as she broke down. "I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you, Ryan. It was the biggest mistake of my life." "Really?" I shot back, fury pouring out. "You're lying again? Even now? In the messages you said it was the best night of your life. Who are you trying to fool?" Her sobs grew louder, but I was done listening. "I can't even look at you right now," I said. Then I continued, straightening up, the coldness in my voice clear. "You've made your choices, Emily, and now everyone is going to know what kind of person you really are." Her face went white. "What are you talking about?" "I filed for divorce," I said, watching the panic cross her face. "And I've already sent everything: photos, texts, videos, to our families and friends. They need to know the truth. They need to know what you did to me." Her mouth fell open in shock. "You... what? You sent them everything?" "Yes," I said, my voice flat. "There's no hiding this. You don't get to play the victim here." I didn't want this to happen," she pleaded, her tears flowing freely. "Please, Ryan, don't do this." But it was too late. The truth was out, and there was no turning back. Emily and I barely spoke after that day. When her family saw the photos, texts, and videos, they were stunned. No one came to her defense. My family, too, was shocked, but quickly rallied behind me. Friends reached out in disbelief, all shaken by what she had done. The divorce was final. I made sure to protect everything I had worked for: my house, cars, and accounts. She wouldn't get a dime. Eventually, Emily walked away with nothing. There was no sense of regret, only the bitter finality of what had happened. She was gone, and with her, the life we once had. Time passed and the pain slowly faded. The person I had loved was gone, but I was becoming stronger with each passing day. The truth set me free, and with it, I moved on. Thank you for watching.